easy to hate billionaires.
Oh, of course.
If most of us had that kind of money, we would shut up, stay off social media, and live life like it was a video game. But Elon Musk wasn't like other billionaires. He had the world convinced that he was a misunderstood genius. And despite him having inconceivable goals like his technology saving lives and even moving the human race to another planet, he seemed like just a chill guy.
I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know,
and
actually.
because of that, he was
on
almost universally liked by people on both sides of the political spectrum. But not anymore. The cracks in the facade have been revealed, and the controlled narrative surrounding Elon's life and career have been dismantled. Elon's lies have gotten so out of control that even his own fan base is starting to reject him.
Give it a chance.
And in today's video, we will discuss why some people are still hanging on to the idea that he is a genius with an honorable mission to save the human race, and why others refuse to ignore the obvious warning signs of giving more power to the richest man in the world. There has been much debate about the severity of Elon Musk's traumatic childhood. Some believe he is twisting.
I can skip if you want me to. It's all good. I don't mind it. You know what? You want to get mad at me, but here's my actual take, and this might be a bad take. I think for all the actual, genuine, overall good, that all these companies and all the value of what Elon did, I find that to be GOAT activity. And I think it's still the GOAT. Yes, some of his takes and some of his behavior is shit. He's having a bad season. Like LeBron has bad seasons. It's still the GOAT. I don't give a shit. Yeah, whatever. It flies low. I don't want to sound like a glazer. It's still the GOAT. I know current season is bad. Other season was bad too. It's a bad stretch, right? But overall, the amount of raw positive value far exceeds a lot of the other billionaires and other massive figures and most people that you probably even like a little bit. And I find it to be a little bit disingenuous to just offload all the good and positive and all the actual good for humanity that all the companies do. Because now he says this and says that. I don't think it counterbalances it. He could do the most outrageous shit. It probably wouldn't counterbalance it. It just because the length is so massive, because these fields and these numbers are so big that we lose the sight line. There's just so much. We lose the sight line of that, so we discredit it. It's not because you can't see and you can't comprehend those numbers that it ceases to exist, brother. I'm not glazing. Okay, then chat doesn't think. Okay, whatever.
The narrative for sympathy.
I'm gonna give this 10 minutes and see if it's good
a
enough.
Man whose behavior today is the direct result of his father's brutal parenting style. The narrative that has been broadly accepted is that Elon grew up poor, which is not true, but that doesn't mean he automatically had an easy life. Elon's parents, Errol and May, were mostly separated just 9 months after Elon was born. Errol was a successful engineer and May was an aspiring supermodel, and the two busy parents left young Elon home with his two siblings, Kimball and Tosca Musk. I didn't really have a primary nanny or anything, Musk recalls. I just had a housekeeper who was there to make sure I didn't break anything. She wasn't like watching me. I was off making explosives and reading books and building rockets and doing things that could have gotten me killed. I'm shocked that I have all my fingers. I was raised by books, and then my parents. Elon was surprisingly proactive for a child, studying programming, reading science fiction, and teaching himself to code his first video game at the age of 12. And as if that didn't make him unlike most 12-year-olds, he was also trying to discover the meaning of life.
When I was, about 11 or 12 years old, I had somewhat of an existential crisis because there just didn't seem to be any meaning in the world. Like, no meaning to life. I actually tried to read all the religious texts. Obviously read the Bible. I read the Quran, the Torah, a bit on the Hindu side. Just trying to understand all these things. But then I read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is really a book on philosophy disguised as humor. The point that Adams tries to make there is that we don't actually know all the answers, obviously.
Yeah.
In fact, we don't even know what the right questions are to ask. The thing that's going to take a computer far more powerful than Earth is to understand what question to ask.
Yeah, right.
That's simply the wrong question.
Yo, I've been saying that.
That
Yeah,
question
that was a fundamental turning point.
Guys, the audio sucks because of the DMC, that's why.
Like that, Elon's life philosophy was set in stone. Stay curious, keep learning, keep asking questions, keep solving problems, and keep progressing towards finding the answers or the questions of the meaning of life. But it wasn't smooth sailing from there. Growing up in South Africa, violence was all around him, and Elon was about to experience some harsh life lessons.
Why is he
at
in the
a young
trenches?
age. But real quick, have you ever Googled your name?
Oh my god! Bro, Patrick, you need to stop, man. Yo, Patrick, man, this has gotta stop.
Camp because he knew his child needed to be tough to survive. The kids were given small rations of food and water and encouraged to physically fight for resources. Musk and his younger brother claimed that every few years, someone would actually end up dead, and counselors would use these stories as warnings. Don't be stupid like that dumb f*** who died last year, they would say. Don't be the weak, dumb f***. Elon was essentially a frail nerd who was socially awkward and unable to defend himself, which made him a target. After one altercation at school, he was hunted down by bullies and nearly beaten to death.
I was sitting next to Elon, and these guys come up to him, 4 or 5 guys, and they just start him and him senseless with their fists. There's nothing I can do to help. I just have to sit and watch this. And they had the intention to death. It was just awful. It was just the most awful thing to witness. My brother's face was unrecognizable.
His father didn't show him any affection after this brutal beating. Instead, Errol made Elon stand in front of him for hours while he called him an idiot and said he was worthless. Elon's father justifies this cruel punishment because he revealed that Elon was actually the one who started the fight. The boy had just lost his father to suicide, and Elon had called him stupid. Errol says, Elon had this tendency to call people stupid. How could I possibly blame that child? Some see Elon as a victim of cruel bullies. Some took this quote from his father and thought that Elon lied to the media for all these years and that he was in fact the bully, just getting some much due retaliation. Then again, Elon's father may not be the most trustworthy source either. Would you trust a man who raised a stepdaughter?
The way that it was taught to me, Jack, I guess I feel like bullying isn't something that isn't an action that you partake in. It's a pattern that you do. It's over and over again. Like you pick on somebody over and over again, and you put them down, and it's a pattern. It's not just like, yo, dude, you're a dumbass. I don't find that to be what I call bullying. It's just not. If you keep doing it, yeah, sure. But if it's some one guy in chess or in classes, something dumb, I say, yo, you're dumb, shut up. But I'm not bullying him yet.
Since she was 4 years old and then had 2 children with her when he was in his 70s. Elon's first wife, Justine, put it this way: with a childhood like his in South Africa, I think you have to shut yourself down emotionally in some ways. If your father is always calling you a moron...
Sorry. Chat, what did I read? Sorry, what was that?
4 years old and then had 2... You trust a man who raised a stepdaughter since she was 4 years old and then had 2 children with her when he was in his 70s. Elon's first wife, Justine, put it this way: with a childhood like his in South Africa, I think you have to shut yourself down emotionally in some ways. If your father is always calling you a moron and idiot, maybe the only response is to turn off anything inside.
Chat, is it technically incest or not, chat, to fuck your stepdaughter?
That would have opened up an emotional dimension that he didn't have the tools to deal with. He learned to shut down fear.
World of possibilities.
If you turn off fear, then maybe you have to turn off other things, like joy or empathy. Now, turning off fear, joy, and empathy was key to becoming the business savant that he is. However, his traumatic childhood has made him...
Oh my god. Okay. So you're just gonna think that... You're just gonna take what I said at face value. So you're just at face value. I meant in that way for these guys, they probably think like, boom, this guy opens up a whole new world for them.
his fans see the man worth $389 billion as relatable. And it's because of these half-truths that have allowed Elon to develop arguably the best reputation of any billionaire in history. Because if the full truth was revealed, like maybe when it comes to his business
If you say some dumb shit to somebody, okay, and you almost get beaten to death, I gotta be honest with you, it doesn't matter. You're still the victim in that sense. I don't give a fuck. Okay. I hate this new thing of like slingshotting aggression. If this guy says one bad thing, well, we can fucking kill him, and then we'll be BZ for that. We're so BZ, deserved. Like, dude, it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah. There is some level of like slingshotting aggression that I will tolerate. Like, oh, at school, some guy called me a really bad words. I backslapped him or some shit like that, and yeah, it's not at that point. It's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna glorify it, but it's gonna what happens in school. It's gonna base it low key. So whatever, right? But it's what it is. But escalating that.
Practices, and he may not be seen as the otherworldly genius many believe that he is. Since Elon's mother was originally born in Canada, he was able to escape the harsh environment of South Africa to attend college. After 2 years, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied until 1995. Elon became interested in the world of entrepreneurship in college, starting small businesses to help pay for tuition. Since Silicon Valley was the home of innovation for anyone pursuing a career in tech, after graduation, Elon and his brother Kimball set off to California to make their business dreams a reality.
In starting the company, I had nothing. I had no income source. We found that an office was actually cheaper than an apartment in Silicon Valley. So we got this dinky little office that had a leaky roof. It was just the nastiest place you can imagine. And I lived in it too and showered at the YMCA. This lasted for about 3 or 4 months. And the reason we chose this office, in addition to it being really cheap, was that there was an internet service provider on the floor below. So we were able to get really cheap internet access by drilling a hole in the floor and connecting to their server directly.
Elon was building the right company at the right time, as any tech company with a decent idea was getting bought out for astronomical prices. In 1999, Musk and his brother sold an online city guide called Zip2 to a company called Compaq for $307 million.
What?
And with $22 million in his pocket from the sale, Elon could have easily retired. But $22 million was chump change in that industry, so he thought bigger. He used all of his money to create an online banking business called X.com, an all-in-one banking company where everything financial could be in one place. But this project was a little too big for Elon to
I use that site, but it doesn't look the same though. It doesn't look the
achieve
same
on his own, and so he decided to merge with a company right next door to his office called PayPal. Apparently, his behavior at the time was so uncontrollable and erratic that people in the PayPal office despised him. He was rumored to have challenged the CTO to an arm wrestling match and was removed as the CEO after people started to jump ship because he was seen as a liability. One of his business partners described the inability to take Elon seriously. There's an irony in everything he does. He operates on an irony setting that goes up to 11, but
I don't care. I don't give about any of this shit. Okay, so you're saying a bunch of sheep followers, no risk takers, fucking loser, fucking wagey cage dumb fucks are saying I'm gonna jump ship because it's too much risk for me. No, yo, fill up your paperwork, put in the data in the fucking data sheet, get your paycheck, go home, and be quiet, buddy. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Okay, brother. Bro, the sheep is complaining about where their captain went. Bro, so many things happened for the ship to exist. You get to be on it. Stop complaining like some hoes.
But never goes below 4. Despite tension in the office, they were all about to become filthy rich. In 2002, PayPal was acquired by eBay for $1.5 billion in stock, of which Musk, the largest shareholder with 11.72% of shares, received $175 million. And instead of slowing down, he chose to live up to the
Okay, this is chat. The reason is because everyone wanted to get onto PayPal, but Elon wanted to stay with X.com. The people left and jumped because Elon was picking the wrong horse. What does it do? I find that this entire dialogue useless. I don't care.
stories he read in science fiction novels as a kid, becoming the face of two innovative companies, Tesla, an electric vehicle business, and SpaceX, a space transportation and aerospace manufacturing company with a primary...
Guys, I'm not rage baiting. I believe in 100% what I said. I hate if company leaders always listened to the complainer sheep at the bottom, they would be no company. They would end up being fired by default because the company would go bankrupt. If people always listened to the fucking noob lords, level 1 pawns, they would be worse than fired. The company would go back and then they would have to find another job anyway. Probably quicker than being fired in the first place. Just stop acting like you know what it's like to be a captain when you're a sailor. When you're a sailor, stop acting. You don't know what it's like. You know what it's like to fucking turn the wheel, okay, and read the map. Be quiet and row the boat.
Mission to colonize the planet Mars. Elon Musk invested $100 million of his PayPal money into SpaceX, and his business plan will shock you. In the late 80s, the Bush administration asked NASA to estimate how much it would cost to get to Mars. They replied with a price tag of $500 billion, and the government said, okay, we're never going to Mars. But Elon liked the idea of going to Mars, so he had to think outside the box.
So then that got totally shelved, and it was like you were not allowed to talk about any kind of crewed mission to Mars at NASA. Anyway, but I thought, well, if I can do something that would galvanize public interest, and then that public interest would translate to additional appropriations for NASA and increase their budget, then maybe they could do it. The United States, maybe more than any other country, is a distillation of the human spirit of exploration. It's really fundamental to psyche.
Bayzed. Dude, chat, I hate being a hyperglazer, but that mindset, it is the foundation. It's what going to the moon wasn't just going to the moon. It's everything else. What it inspired people. It opens up so many possibilities. You aim really high with something delusional, you get a bunch of actual tangible things on the way there.
So if people think there's a way, I think it would actually get a lot of support.
Although this may seem small, it's actually a huge insight from Musk. He basically admitted that his whole business plan was to launch a marketing campaign to the general public. If he could make the ordinary person interested in Mars, and the hype was big enough, then NASA, aka the US government, will start funding companies who are attempting to explore the planet. And his plan worked, but barely. At first, Elon was funding everything himself. He took 3 trips to Russia to negotiate pricing for 2 rockets owned by the Russian government. They demanded $8 million, and Elon refused to pay that price.
Is there some way to affect the cost of space transport? Got together with a group of people over a series of Saturdays just to try to understand, is there something fundamentally super expensive about rockets, or can the cost be substantially improved? I couldn't see any fundamental obstacle to improving the cost of rockets, so that's when I started SpaceX.
For the next few years, Elon exhausted all of his media time trying to convince the world that exploring space will be super cool and interesting.
And then I think you've got space tourism or space adventure. That, I think, is likely to be the biggest driver. And then long term, assuming that we fulfill the president's vision and we establish a moon base and then go on and establish a Mars base, supplying those bases is a huge, huge business.
People were definitely interested in the idea that one day there will be personalized space travel or tourism. However, when they saw SpaceX rockets plummeting to Earth and exploding from a crash landing, they were unsure of Elon's progress. After multiple rocket failures and 5 years straight of just burning Elon's personal money, SpaceX was nearly bankrupt. His other company, Tesla, was also on the brink of collapse. Elon Musk is not one of the founders of Tesla. The company was founded in July of 2003 by engineers Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. But Elon was a fan, making a personal investment of $6.5 million and joining as chairman of the board in 2004. Tensions with the original founders eventually led to Eberhard's departure, and even though he is still a stockholder to this day, he doesn't seem too fond of Elon.
Well, I mean,
That's
this is one of the things that I found kind of fascinating about him is that he's actually accomplished some amazing things in his own right. I think.
He's totally amazing.
Yeah, SpaceX is amazing, and he's done some interesting things with Tesla for sure. I'm not sure why he has to also say that he was a founder when he wasn't. I don't understand that.
By 2008, Elon took over as CEO during the financial crisis that nearly bankrupted the company. The first car release was the 2008 Tesla Roadster, and while it wasn't perfect, it was one of the first electric cars that appealed to both environmentalists and people unwilling to accept the style of the Toyota Prius. In this way, Tesla was the first electric vehicle company to show people on both sides of the aisle that you could care for the environment and look cool at the same time. Elon wanted to assure to the customer that as long as we consistently move forward technologically, then we were on the right path to saving the planet.
The reason I funded Tesla is because I think it's very important that we accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles. And it was not with the idea of just creating a sports car that's very expensive, because that doesn't really change the world. That's not going to make a dent on our energy usage. But the sports car is really just an entry point to the marketplace. And from the sports car, we'll go to Model 2, Model 3. And in each case, with each successive model, we'll increase the production volume and decrease the price.
Elon tried to do as much press as he could to sell his $180,000 electric sports car to rich people, convincing them that it would ultimately lead to changing the world, and one day electric cars would be an affordable reality for the average American. But Tesla was only able to sell 100 units, and the company could not survive.
2008 was brutal. We had the third consecutive failure of the Falcon 1 rocket for SpaceX. Tesla almost went bankrupt. We closed our financing round 6 p.m. Christmas Eve 2008. It was the last hour of the last day that it was possible. We would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas otherwise. And I got divorced. That was rough, man.
At his lowest moment, facing imminent failure, the US government swooped in and saved both of his companies. NASA
who was his wife at the time? Divorced by whom? Who was it?
awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. For Tesla, Musk secured a $40 million loan just before Christmas Eve, as well as a $50 million investment from Daimler. But the big bailout for Tesla was when they were granted $465 million in low-interest loans from the U.S. Department of Energy to accelerate the production of affordable, fuel-efficient electric vehicles. After back-to-back bailouts, Elon could finally take a breath and know that his companies will be okay for a little while. But if he didn't keep everyone invested in his vision, then he would be needing another government payday soon. He started to set unimaginable goals with unrealistic timelines. Like in 2011, he promised to put a man on Mars in 10 years. This is how he described what Teslas could do for you in 2014. Imagine having your car check your calendar in the morning, calculate travel time to your first appointment based on real-time traffic.
Yo, I don't give a fuck if that's my tax money. I don't care. It's crazy. You pick and choose what. Oh, yo, this tax money. Brother, the reality is your tax money goes to shit. Okay? It goes to shit. It goes to the absolute most bottom-of-the-barrel dog shit trash, and it vanishes. It is what it is. I mean, this, I would say, is probably not even in the bottom 100 of $500 million slabs that they put to stuff. It's probably not even bottom 100. So I'm not even acting like, oh my god,
automatically
no way.
Open the garage door with HomeLink, carefully back out of a tight garage, and pull up to your door ready for your commute. He wasn't necessarily wrong about Teslas being able to one day accomplish these things. He just set an unrealistic timeline. Elon also decided to invest in his personal brand and become a celebrity. Unlike Mark Zuckerberg, who tried to rebrand overnight after his reputation fell flat on its face, Musk slowly transitioned to the modern CEO. He ditched the dusty brown suits of the early 2000s and opted for more form-fitting black suits. He received countless...
Zuck never had a bad outlook. Only the people were like, oh, yo, whatever. I don't agree. I think he always had a pretty solid brand. I didn't know much about it, and I thought he was pretty likable. I don't give a shit.
Hair transplants, and became friendly with the camera. Tesla continued to lose money most quarters as they scaled production and built infrastructure, but he was able to prove to the US consumer that his EVs will change our future. In 2016, Tesla collected over 400,000 reservations for the Model 3, each with a $1,000 deposit, generating over $400 million in cash flow without delivering a single unit. Year over year, both of Elon's companies secured secured around $1 billion in federal contracts, loans, subsidies, and tax credits. But greatness does take time, and as you can imagine, the type of innovation...
Imagine if at the time, everybody in the government, on social media, kept saying DEI. He talks a lot about DEI these days, but imagine if everybody said, yo, dude, is this USAID? Yo, this Tesla shit, this right, yo, is this USEAID shit, bro? I mean, I'm just saying.
What Elon is going for is not going to be cheap, which is why US citizens on both sides of the political spectrum were more than happy to know that their tax dollars were helping Elon make cheaper electric cars and keep the US in the space race.
If you are mistaken when they think that technology
you understand what I said, but it's all
improves,
good.
it does not automatically improve. It only improves if a lot of people work very hard to make it better, and actually it will by itself degrade. You look at great civilizations like ancient Egypt, and they were able to make the pyramids, and they forgot how to do that. And the Romans, they built these incredible aqueducts. They forgot how to do it.
Elon Musk launched his personal Tesla space race.
If you are mistaken when they think that technology just automatically improves, it does not automatically improve. It only improves if a lot of people work very hard to make it better, and actually it will by itself degrade. You look at great civilizations like ancient Egypt, and they were able to make the pyramids, and they forgot how to do that. And the Romans, they built these incredible aqueducts. They forgot how to do it.
Okay,
Elon Musk
I
launched
get it
his
now.
personal Tesla Roadster into space aboard the maiden flight of SpaceX's rocket as a test payload. The stunt demonstrated the rocket's power and was a genius marketing stunt that combined his two brilliant innovations. By this point, Elon Musk had zero haters. He went on talk shows, PR tours, and hung out with the most famous people in Hollywood. He painted a picture of life unimaginable before, and people were buying into it. Tesla cars would be able to drive themselves. There will be an underground transportation exclusively for Teslas. We would have robots to assist around our homes, communicate telepathically through chips installed into our brains called Neuralink, and ultimately we will be a part of an interplanetary utopia in the next century. He was a certified tech celebrity, and people were all in on his vision for the future. But as silly as it sounds, the moment that sent Elon Musk to superstardom was his 2018 appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, when he shared a little bit of that devil's lettuce while wearing an Occupy Mars t-shirt. This moment was astronomically viral, with every news publication, Silicon Valley executive, and 4chan user talking about genius Elon Musk smoking weed. This was the moment people really started looking at Musk like he was
That is a
one
classic.
of the guys,
That
a
is a
billionaire,
classic.
unlike other billionaires. Tesla stock took a minor hit after the JRE episode, but it rebounded almost immediately because Musk's public approval
Isn't it kind of crazy though? Isn't it kind of crazy? Like, it does show how fickle all the, or whatever the fuck, I don't know, the objective is for like investors. Where they did one puff of weed on some show and shit dropped. Like, come on, bro.
after the
Really,
JRE
dude?
episode, but it
Really,
rebounded
dude?
almost immediately because Musk's public approval was at an
78% of anybody who panicked on that stock probably did cocaine in the 10 minutes before or after that stock trade. Let's keep it a buck. And they're gonna fucking act more because of some weed. Come on, bro.
all-time high.
Hey, come on, bro.
And it was from here that it became very apparent that Elon loved the attention. He loved the spotlight. He loved the praise. He loved being a celebrity. He also needed the people's love so he can keep experimenting in space on the government's dime. And this would start his journey of going to ridiculous measures to maintain public approval.
You spent 2 years shadowing him. What did you learn that we didn't already know about Elon Musk?
Well, there's certainly multiple Elon Musk, multiple personalities, whether it's the hardcore engineering mode that you know so well, where he can figure out how to do a battery cell, or more importantly, figure out how to do steps on an assembly line that will make the battery cell. But also there's almost a demon mode of Elon Musk, where he turns really dark. And that can be very problematic, especially when it came to acquiring Twitter, which I think involves more emotional intelligence.
Elon Musk made his first tweet in 2010 saying, "Please ignore prior tweets, as that was someone pretending to be me. This is actually me." And at the start, it was primarily just him trolling and sharing the latest about Tesla and SpaceX. He'd post about the most recent launch or encourage people to invest in Doge, a meme coin that people invest in for laughs. While this might have seemed innocent at the time, this was actually a big problem for someone with his personality type, and it was made made worse when you consider the sort of Twitter culture as a whole. People think that society's loss of sanity on Twitter happened in recent years. Racial divide, political fights, and slurs are a part of the daily experience. But the truth is, Twitter has always been a chaotic place. There are hundreds of millions of people constantly posting about what is going on in their head at any given time. What could possibly go wrong? Twitter is basically other social media.
Yeah, it was always a thing, right? But it's not like the system like gave it to you or force fed it to you. But if you don't scroll out of some racist post for like 4 seconds, if you open the comments by accident for the next fucking 2 weeks, brother, you're gonna have a Hitler like 3 times per fucking refresh on your main page. It is what it is, man. Like, it's just bullshit.
Platforms on steroids. If you want to troll, all you have to do is quote the tweet with an insult and make the post your own. If you want to preach, all you have to do is start a thread. And if you're famous enough, growing a cult following and punishing your enemies is only a few clicks away. And Elon Musk was about to learn this one tweet at a time, starting with when he falsely accused a rescue diver of abusing minors. In 2018, a youth soccer team and their coach were trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand for 18 days.
The missing party, what we can now refer to as the miraculously lucky 13, the Wild Boars football team plus their young coach. They went missing after match practice. They'd explored this particular cave before, but were apparently trapped by a sudden monsoon flood.
To make matters worse, the rising water levels were unpredictable. Specialists made it known to the public that if the boys and their coach weren't saved soon, there was a possibility that they'd drown regardless. As the crisis escalated, 110 Navy SEALs were deployed to find a rescue method. Jessica Tate, the public affairs officer of the US Air Force, said, "This is a Thai-led multinational rescue operation, and what's fantastic is that you see the US here, the Australians, the Chinese, the British divers, obviously."
Why wouldn't they just drop a long pipe with oxygen with a bunch of holes so that everybody can put their mouth on the pipe and then breathe in the long pipe? Thoughts?
Shows that when militaries train together, it's for this. It's for the real world. And given the tales of heroism coming from the cave story on Twitter, Elon Musk couldn't help but get in on the action. While the team of professionals considered scuba diving to navigate the caves, Musk stayed on brand, claiming that after feedback from Thailand, the best course of action would be to build kid-sized submarines out of rocket parts to get the boys out. But the logistics of this mini-sub operation seemed more like a fantasy than an actual plan, and a number of teammates believed that it only harmed actual attempts to free the flood victims. And this is when a rescue diver named Vern Unsworth came out and rejected the idea completely, telling Elon to shove his plan up where it hurts.
What your thoughts on Elon Musk's idea was?
And stick his submarine where it hurts. Just had absolutely no chance of working. He had no conception of what the cave passage was like. The submarine, I believe, was about 5'6" long, rigid, so it wouldn't have gone round corners or round any obstacles. It wouldn't have made the first 50 meters into the cave from the dive start point. Just a PR stunt.
He went into the cave on Tuesday
and was asked to leave very quickly. And so he should have been.
Now, most people sided with Musk at the beginning, after Unsworth's insults.
I mean, this guy's just a asshat. I don't give a fuck what he says. Oh, some guy shows interest, actually goes to the cave, and just formulates an idea on his Twitter, and then this guy's like up and maul about it, and then she presents a fact. Oh, he did go to the cave. Oh yeah, he left quickly. Like, he's just a fuckhead. I don't know what to tell you. It's like, you guys just like your read on social cues are so shit. You guys, even if Elon was farming, like, I don't find it to be very harmful. Let's say, oh yeah, it might have hurt the rescue. Yeah, how? Like, what?
were made public. After all, Elon was a genius inventor who simply wanted to help. He may not have had a good plan or a realistic plan, but they felt that anyone dumping resources that quickly to save some lives was honorable. However, Unsworth attacked Musk's ego, and he soon discovered Elon's fragility firsthand. Musk didn't seem to care that Unsworth was a rescue diver and a hero. He cared that his image was attacked, and that was enough for Musk to really weaponize Twitter for the first time. Never saw this British expat guy who lives in Thailand, sus, at any point when we were in the caves. Only people in sight were the Thai, Navy, and Army guys, who were great. Thai Navy SEALs escorted us in, total opposite of wanting us to leave. Water level was actually very low and still not flowing. You could literally have swum to Cave 5 with no gear, which is obviously how the kids got in. If not true, then I challenged this dude to show the final rescue video. Huge credit to Pump and Generator team. Unsung heroes here. You know what? Don't bother showing the video. We will make one of the mini sub pods going all the way down to Cave 5 no problemo. Sorry, pedo guy, you really did ask for it. What should have been a heartwarming story about millions praying for a young soccer team's survival turned into Musk.
Okay. The sus was out of line. The pedo thing, way out of line. Way completely in the red zone. It's in the red zone. It's kind of nuts. You guys are kind of going, oh my god, when pedo is said, when people wave that word around, then you get them thinking about it these days. No proof, nothing of any value. Just some, and people just wave that shit around. Like
first real.
It's a word that has a lot of implication. Always be careful. Don't pick and choose. Like, always be careful.
Fight on the world stage. To make matters worse, Unsworth couldn't compete with Elon's cult of personality. To save his reputation, Unsworth took Elon Musk to court for $190 million for defamation, claiming it harmed his personal relationships and career. But Elon weaponized his unlimited supply of money to make sure that he won the case. He started by saying that his tweet was a joke that was badly received, therefore deleted with an apology and then responsive tweets to move on from the matter. He then said at the time that he thought Unsworth was just some random creepy guy who was unrelated to the rescue. After a short apology from Musk in court, Unsworth's lawyer stayed on message, citing another now deleted tweet that the billionaire sent to his followers saying, "Bet ya a signed dollar it's true." He also cited an email exchange that Mr. Musk had with a BuzzFeed reporter who contacted him for comment on the threat of legal action, where the entrepreneur said, "Stop defending child rapists." But in court, Musk claimed that his pedo insult was just slang from South Africa, something that has yet to be verified. It sounds a lot more like a bully at school trying to justify his actions in the principal's office. But justice is only justice when money isn't involved, and Elon won the case almost instantly.
Vernon went toe-to-toe with
by his actions in the principal's office. But justice is only justice when money isn't involved, and Elon won the case almost instantly.
Vernon went toe-to-toe with a billionaire bully. Not many people have the courage to do that. He put unlimited resources into this case. We did the best we can. We worked night and day for Vernon. We believe Vernon. We believe in his cause.
How does money have to do with anything here? Bro, you got clapped. It is what it is. Your claim was weak. Let's give it a bucket. Your claim was weak. You reached for the stars. You got clapped hard. I don't know what to tell you. They wanted 190 mil. You're gonna make it. You're gonna say, "Oh, dude, it's about money in the court." Bro, you're the one asking for 190 mil. You fucking loser. What the fuck are you talking about? Bro, you're the one who opened the case for 190 mil, and you're gonna get mad it's about money when you make it all about money like that? Fuck off. What the fuck is this shit? Are you okay? 190 mil? How could you possibly prove defamation and damages to 190 mil? They're just going for a milk date. Fuck off.
Is properly a hero, and he has been recognized as such.
Well, I've taken it on the chin. I just have to get on with life.
Elon didn't know it at the time, but this was the first shift in his public reputation. Something about his immature behavior and ability to just throw out false allegations didn't sit right with people outside of his fan base.
Yo, how would you ever even materialize or prove or show damages of 190 mil when the guy was probably not even worth 1 mil net worth. That's fucking outrageous. What are you talking about?
But just as things started to slip away, Elon shared something deeply personal to the public. He told everyone that he had undiagnosed Asperger's when he was brought on to host SNL.
I'm actually making history tonight as the first person with Asperger's to host SNL.
For a lot of people, Elon's confession made perfect sense. Asperger's is a part of the autism spectrum disorder, and signs of Asperger's syndrome include repetitive behaviors, sensory sensitivity, social difficulties, poor fine motor skills, and sometimes a lack of close friendships, all of which Elon seems to struggle with. But looking back, the timing of all of this seemed kind of suspicious to people. It is true that Elon's mannerisms and behavior fit the description, but his behavior made some people begin to wonder if this was a genuine reveal or another way to clean up his public image. Regardless, it looked like Elon learned a lesson.
How much did you pay your lawyers for court? Brother, you need to understand that the guy was probably, I'm going to take a wild guess here, okay? For 190 mil, what do you think this was doing? If they thought the claim was good from the get-go, they were probably on contingency. They were definitely going to have a portion of that court settlement, and they were working for that. So they were going all in on their case. So don't act like, oh no, dude, it's about money. It's about resources. It's about, bro, fuck off. These guys were all in on this shit. They were invested financially in this 100%. What the fuck are you talking about?
Lesson about social media and bending the truth. Twitter gave people the freedom.
Their case was weak as shit, and they lost. What else about it?
To avoid responsibility. If he wanted to be a troll or a bully, he could do it behind the safety of his keyboard, which is what got him in one of the cringiest online battles with Mark Zuckerberg and lied his way out of getting his ass beat. The relationship between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg first took a serious turn when SpaceX failed to launch Zuckerberg's satellite into space. The satellite was meant to give internet access to developing nations, but it instead blew up on the launch pad.
That's
in a
classic.
Facebook post at the time, Zuckerberg said he was deeply disappointed to hear that SpaceX's launch failure destroyed our satellite, and Musk initially seemed to take it in stride. He responded to the incident on Twitter with, "Yeah, my fault for being an idiot. We did give them a free launch to make up for it, and I think they had some insurance." But Elon's ego...
Okay, Zuck is out of line. I gotta keep it a buck, chat. Zuck is out of line. Okay, let's keep it a buck. Why is he being that weird about amounts of money? That let's keep it a buck. It's a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket. Hold on. It's a drop in the bucket. It's a fun project. They're gonna do it again for free. Says, okay. Deeply disappointed. It's like a fail. Destroy their satellite. Yo, you are socially inept if you don't think you can word that in a way that's more like that happened instead of they made this happen. Come on, dude. You could say, oh, it sucks. It sucks that a rocket didn't make it, but we're gonna try again. Nope. It sucks a rocket destroyed because they fucked our shit up. Okay, yo, that's all bit out of pocket. Like, you can see how that it would make tensions. Come on, bro.
Was clearly damaged by the failure. Even though he acted somewhat professionally in this instance, every response to Zuckerberg's claims going forward would show how wounded he actually was. In 2017, Zuckerberg expressed optimism about the future of AI and said he wasn't really fond of people who are naysayers and tried to drum up these doomsday scenarios. Elon then bashed Zuckerberg, saying, "I've talked to Mark about this.
Hold on. I think people who were instead and try to drum it up as doomsday scenarios. I don't understand it. It's really negative.
Understanding of the subject is limited, insulting his intelligence. As if it couldn't get worse, Musk publicly...
Wrong. Brother, you can be ignorant. You can be ignorant. That would be ignorance, not intellect. Your computation of the data and your patterns, finding, solving, or whatever has nothing to do with you not having the data and you not having seen this information. Not different. Not the same thing. Not something.
The subject is limited, insulting his intelligence. As if it couldn't get worse, Musk publicly quit Facebook a year later following the #DeleteFacebook trend. Then he posted, "What's Facebook?" while proceeding to promise to remove SpaceX from the platform as well. And on the surface, all of these decisions were seen as perfectly reasonable. Facebook had a growing reputation for stealing data, and Zuckerberg was, and is, notorious for stealing people's information and selling it to the highest bidder. However, most people at the time did not see that Elon's anti-Zuckerberg campaign was actually a part of a master plan. He didn't just troll Zuckerberg for the fun of it like everyone else. He saw him as future competition. The billionaire battle escalated when Zuckerberg released Threads, a platform that basically—
Wrong. I don't care about this. I don't care. I don't. You can make everything sound like that. Okay, let's keep it a buck. To say that Threads was competition is a fucking joke. What a joke to say that was even competition. That's not even a player, bro. On a game on a chessboard, Threads was not even a pawn. Everybody knew that. Elon knew that. Nobody saw some further plan to that. That was just what it is. I'm sorry, it is what it is.
Basically copied the Twitter model in every way. When reacting to the news, Elon tweeted, "I'm sure Earth can't wait to be exclusively under Zuck's thumb with no other options. At least it'll be sane." Was worried there for a moment. To which someone replied, "Better be careful, Elon. I heard he does the jujitsu now." And then Elon replied, "I'm up for a cage match if he is, lol." Understanding Musk's fragile ego, Zuckerberg began roasting Elon by posting an Instagram story with the caption, "Send me your location," referring to the Habib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor saga, as well as posting the Spider-Man meme hinting at the Threads vs Twitter battle. And the public interest was explosive. Musk suggested that the fight take place in the Vegas Octagon, and people thought that they'd get a chance to see two middle-aged billionaires fight with their actual fists. And while Mark isn't the greatest fighter on the planet, he has spent a considerable amount of his free time training with MMA professionals in the past few years. Also, Zuck was now winning competitive matches, and even Musk's most dedicated fanboys understood that he wasn't in the best shape of his life. Elon has claimed that over the years he trained in several different martial arts, but he was weaker now, and in no way capable of taking on Zuckerberg in a cage match. Regardless, Elon continued trolling Zuckerberg.
I mean, let's give it a buck. Well, being trained in judo, okay, and whatever this is it's not
of taking on Zuckerberg in a cage match. Regardless, Elon continued
it's a drop in the bucket to what you need to know in the octagon. Come on, brother.
trolling Zuckerberg on Twitter, calling him a cuck, and challenged him to a literal measuring contest. And while initially this all seemed harmless and entertaining, it started to get desperate and kind of sad. People started looking at this for what it was: two aging rich nerds with fragile egos on a quest to convince everyone else that they were manly. And just when it looked like things couldn't get any more painful, Elon pulled out of the fight with just as many excuses as he had with the Unsworth trial. As soon as they agreed on the Vegas venue, Musk turned around and said they should fight in the Coliseum. He just kept changing plans whenever the fight was about to take place.
He accused me of not being serious. And I said, look, listen, at the end of the day, if I'll fight you any place, anywhere, under any rules. He said name of the place. I'm like, I'm happy to fight him in a house, on a mouse, with a louse. We'd like go full Dr. Seuss here.
Now, how much time?
I'm way bigger than him. This is unfair.
I know you.
I don't think you should fight me.
Because you're so much bigger than him?
Yeah, I'm like 50% heavier than him.
Yeah.
I'll just use I've got my patented walrus move. I just lie on him. Well, you know, like walrus doesn't need martial arts training.
Right.
Because it's really big. Right. You don't want to go wrestling a walrus.
Right.
Because he's going to roll on you.
Have you ever rolled with someone who's much smaller than you that does jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Lex. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did 10 years of martial arts.
Joe's wondering, should I just let this whole "I'm bigger than him" thing slide? This is the first time I've seen Joe not call someone out on their BS related to their martial arts abilities.
Well,
at this point, Joe
when you do jiu-jitsu against somebody who's like a lot bigger than you, I mean, you get fucked on. Listen, I don't know what that meant over there, but you get absolutely fucked on it. It's hard to do anything.
Musk couldn't even prevent people from seeing the truth. All of his excuses for avoiding the fight were blatant lies, and weaponizing Twitter wasn't helping him either. While Elon—
I love that the chat thinks that like you can like move the person around, bro, a lot of it is maneuvering and rotating and shit. The guy's a lot bigger than you. And you can't even lift them or lift it even a little bit. Bro, a lot of your strategies are, you can't even execute most of your shit. When you search it, I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was younger. Bro, my sparring partner was my brother. I couldn't do anything. Like, when people are a lot bigger, you can't do shit.
Made countless efforts to change his public image over the years, he also started to change his value system, transforming from a balanced tech bro into a die-hard patriot with a political message to save the human race. When Elon first became popular, he never seemed like he had picked a side when it came to politics. He donated to the Republican Bush-Cheney campaign in 2003, but then funded Democratic nominee John Kerry the following year. Liking President Barack Obama's environmental stance, he donated over $100,000 to him and his programs between 2007 and 2011, and in an interview with The Atlantic in 2014, he described himself as being half Republican and half Democrat. Even as Redditors started to turn on him because of his focus on Twitter, Musk would double down on the fact that he was a moderate, and that he was a humanitarian that felt everything he was doing was for the betterment of society as a whole. But after he bought Twitter, he started receiving an enormous amount of criticism from the left. Musk once again started to get reactive. He and many others in the country felt like progressives had taken their message a bit too far, censoring their enemies and pushing an agenda that would be enforced whether people liked it or not. And by 2022, Elon's stance had completely changed. He became more and more vocal about the rights of working class Americans and felt that he was one of the only people with extreme wealth who saw the world for what it really was. In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the—
I know what the requirements are in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to get a belt. It is incredibly, it's an arduous process. You have to go to some fucking place in some fucking dojo, okay, and do like a list of shit. It is outrageous, okay. I only had like the first one, like the first belt. Was it brown? I don't fucking remember.
The Kindness Party, but they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. And in carrying that set of beliefs, Elon Musk's Twitter takeover was more extreme than ever before. Starlink has been told by some governments to block Russian news sources. We will not do so unless at gunpoint. Sorry to be a free speech absolutist. By free speech, I simply mean that which matches the law. I am against censorship that goes far beyond the law. If people want less free speech, they will ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people. As promised, this platform will fight for your freedom to speak. We expect many such battles in the future. Freedom of speech is the bedrock of democracy. Without it, America ends. Musk felt so passionate about protecting free speech online that $44 billion for the purchase of Twitter was worth it. So now he could control and deem what free speech is. He started by firing about 6,000 employees, which was 80% of the workforce. Then he restored banned accounts and publicized political free speech promises. But behind the scenes, Musk was allegedly banning self-proclaimed anti-fascist journalists. He claimed they were crazy stalkers and a danger to society. He also considered himself a champion for comedy, saying really cringy things like legalize comedy because comedians were being canceled, aka criticized for their jokes. Then again, he reportedly began removing posts of a Dave Chappelle show at the Chase Center where he was basically booed off stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and boos, I see.
In response to the boos, Elon Musk tweeted, "The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters." It started to look like Musk's hard beliefs only applied when they—
He didn't get booed off stage, dude. People had mixed feelings. I think a good way to like maybe she should have said like, "Yo, what's up, guys?" in the mic or something like that, try to humanize himself a little bit. But like doing hello as like it looks like, hold on, when you do that, like, oh yeah, it'll look like, guys, look, I think you're here for me or whatever, or like praising you or something like that. It's not. If you're 50-50 on the booze and the yays or whatever, I mean, you're gonna head in the booze way if you do that. It is what it is. I mean,
suited him. And now that he owned Twitter, he was going to make sure that he and his fans got center stage. He wanted more positive attention from the public than ever before, even if it was just an illusion. According to inside sources, Musk was visibly disturbed when he saw the ex-president Joe Biden got more views than him on a Super Bowl post. In response, Musk reportedly hired 80 engineers to work around the clock to re-engineer the algorithm to favor his tweets over anyone else's. And today, it's insanely noticeable. Twitter has essentially become a Musk diary filled with memes and his personal thoughts.
I mean,
he's often telling X users that you are the media now, but it's starting to seem like he is the media now. He also still had the world's biggest podcast absolutely glazing him.
Thank you so much for buying Twitter. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm not exaggerating when I think you changed the course of history. You made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented.
Now, many felt that Elon's behavior during the build-up to the 2024 election was downright embarrassing, but his fans felt that he was the only person with power willing to stand up to the censorship and the corrosion of traditional values. And then, after Donald Trump won the presidential election, Elon felt he had helped successfully put the right man in office, and he had a particularly interesting way of expressing his love for the American people.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
Can't even perform a Nazi salute without being called a Nazi these days. Shaking my head. I can think of like 15 different gestures to show my appreciation to a crowd, and none of them look remotely like that. Reichest man in the world. Wait, did I spell that right? Again, Musk's behavior on the campaign trail was cringy, embarrassing, and straight up sad for a billionaire. But the salute, this one was hard to defend, even for his supporters. His remaining fanboys tried all sorts of things to excuse his behavior, like showing images of other political figures holding up their hands or claiming that this was some sort of autistic spasm. Even Joe Rogan came to his defense.
We were talking about the Elon gaffe.
Yeah, I defended it. I'm sorry. I just chat. This is like in my opinion, this is like a political white and gold / black and blue dress moment. As if like it either connects with you in that way or it doesn't. I personally, it's just a matter of mannerism. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You guys can call me evil for that. I don't give a shit. I don't see it. It is what it is. I don't see it. Sorry.
It's like my heart goes out to you.
It's
like,
so
hey,
silly.
Don't do that though.
That's the perfect example. If you believe he's a Nazi,
Right.
you're gonna see him do a silly.
Signaling to actual Nazis in an effective way would be such a small alteration to the way that he moves his hand or whatever, and to not be a little bit more precise, even though with some plausible deniability, would have been easy. And I don't see it being deliberate. I'm sorry, I don't see it.
Hand gesture and see that as that.
Well, he's saying my heart goes
Right,
out to
to
you.
you.
But that is how the Nazis did it.
Joe Rogan has completely sold out. Now, some people believe that Elon doing this salute was him just openly admitting that he's a white supremacist. Some people believe that he is an evil billionaire. Others believe that he was just joking and this is a troll. But what we can all...
When people post other... See, I like how he shows pictures of other people that are trying to like make other people look bad, other candidates or whatever. And like, oh, they even tried this or that. And then he shows a picture of like the worst possible angle in order to do the exact same thing that he's calling people out that they try to do. This picture is from the side at an angle downwards. It is not what that looked like in the video. I'm sorry. It's crazy that what I just said is objective, and you're refusing to intake the information because of how bricked you are in your own belief. Like, you're so bricked into that one such a massive cognitive dissonance, you won't even onboard any new thought because you won't do it. That if you don't...
Thank you.
If you think that actually looks, if you think this angle looks the way that this looks, I'm sorry to tell you, you've ingested too much soy. You've become libtarded so much your eyes don't work anymore. Whatever your eyes are getting to your brain, there's a massive problem in the signal, and it's corroding the wires. Your synapses are corroding. You're losing your mind. That is not this. It is not. It's obvious that what he tried to do with people try to defend him by calling out other people and like that lady or whatever. And then he does the exact same thing with this one.
That Elon doing this salute was him just openly admitting that he's a white supremacist. Some people believe that he is an evil billionaire. Others believe that he was just joking and this is a troll. But
no. Wait. Are you fucking dumb? Wait, why would I do it? How's that a good argument? You just showed me that whatever you don't do it, or you think somebody did it, they're both to be called out, and you're going to use an argument. So why would I even give you a hint of that? Why would I even put myself in a position where you're gonna act like that? I don't agree with the behavior on either hand, and you want me to do it to prove what? To prove that the mindset people have is more dangerous than the action itself? What a backwards fucking thing to say.
What we can all agree on is that this was a Nazi salute. And from here on out, the lies and scandals continue to stack up. The most embarrassing one is the billionaire pretending to be a top 20 ranked player in Diablo 4, which is a video game that takes players into a world where the forces of evil are led by a demon named Lilith, where your objective is to continuously battle progressively harder and harder.
Guys, I don't think that singing the Chinese song that sounds like you're saying the N-word, I don't think it's bad to sing it. Oh, then do it. No, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, but both things can be true. I don't want to do it, but I don't think it's wrong either, because that's not what it means. It's not what it is. But everybody will make it something that it's not, and it's a position that's just, it is just for me not worth the risk to good equivalent or exchange. I'm not doing it. It is, for the sake of the argument, it's not worth the risk, so I don't do it. It's that simple.
Harder opponent.
It's not simple. It's the exact same thing, because I don't agree with the intention.
And while that sounds like every video game imaginable, Diablo 4's difficulty is legendary in the world of action role-playing. Not everyone is capable of getting into it because of how complex it gets after each phase.
The top 20 and even the top 100 is like totally dominated by China.
So are you in the top 20 in the world, or the top 20? Wow, in Diablo.
Yeah.
People were suspicious how Musk.
I disagree. It's not complex ever. It looks complex from the get-go. Once you get it going and you spend the time, it becomes like fucking nothing. And the gameplay is just fucking brain dead. Okay, kite the mobs in a stack, hit behind, kite the mobs in a stack, AoE them down, whatever. I don't give a shit. You're never gonna make this complex. It's not complex. It's complex. Everything is complex. It's like saying, oh dude, physics is extremely complex. I don't even know what mathematics are. Well, I mean, yeah, if you start from zero, yeah, it looks complex, but it's not that complex.
Could lead the US's space race, build fully self-driving automobiles, run an entirely new government agency appointed by President Trump, tweet every hour of the day, and still find time to be a top 20 ranked player in a video game that other elite players dedicate their lives to. If Musk actually earned his position...
Not a good comparison. Okay, I think you missed the point entirely. I'm making the comparison between math and that. If I don't know one, the other one's harder. Well, it'll look like it's harder. That's what it is. When you look at the build path, oh wow, this is complex, whatever, and you go, how do I do this? And the reality is, what do you have to do? Google what is the best build for this class. Click, 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 click. Finish. Done. Never have to look at it ever again.
in the top 20 for Diablo, it would either mean A, he never goes to work and has a robot to replace him, or B, he is straight up lying. YouTuber Quinn69TV deep dove into this subject and came to the conclusion that Elon likely pays people to play the game for him on his account, essentially boosting his ranking to the world top 20 while Elon is justifiably busy running his businesses and tweeting his favorite memes.
So right away we see Elon zone into his hideout, which is the area you do in-game content from.
That is literally not him. Like it's not debatable. I'm not gonna say that he's bad at the game or that he's not good. I'm not gonna make those claims. I don't know, but I know that whatever place that he got to, it's not 100% him. It is what it is.
And he opens up his bank and he goes to a tab called Elon's Maps, which immediately is a little bit of a red flag because I don't know why you would refer to yourself in third person, but okay, he does that. Elon Musk didn't play Path of Exile 1. In Path of Exile 2, maps are actually called waystones. And he never actually refers to them as maps, he calls them...
Play another round here. This is a hard level, waystone.
So it's just kind of weird that he's, again, called his tab Elon's Maps. So almost like someone who's a Path of Exile 1 veteran, you know, is kind of making that tab and be like, Elon...
Bro,
you
know, I don't care. Yo, stop spamming my DMs. I don't care. I don't give a shit. What did Disney want? What does he want? Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro. I can't, man. Bro, out of all people, but you make me go into Disney call. Bro, what do you want, man?
Whoa, hey, hello?
Yeah, I'm at work right now. What's up?
Oh, hi. Okay, wait. I just had one quick...
Here comes. Go ahead.
Quick, just a quick, easy question, okay? Okay, it was about the when he did the I love you sign with his hand really aggressively.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's kind of weird that in all the time this has been argued about, that there wasn't a single person who could find a single example of anybody ever doing this that wasn't doing it in a Nazi rally ever?
Oh, is it someone done?
Do you think it's a little bit weird that in all the people that spoke about this, and as dramatic as all this was, that nobody could find a single example of somebody doing this who wasn't at a Nazi rally?
Well, I mean, the whole basis of my argument is that's not what that looks like or meant to look like. So, at the foundational level, my argument is that isn't being replicated at Nazi rallies because that's not what it is. Does that make sense? It's more of a foundational argument, not that.
Sure, that could be it. Okay, I'm just curious because I don't know, maybe your chat might say it differently. Okay, because I'm Trump derangement syndrome. So like, if you look at those two things, does that look similar at all, or do you think it's like quite different? Or
I got you. Hold on. You're really gonna have me fucking put some fucking images like that on my thing? Gee whiz. Yeah. Like I said, again, it'll sound like I'm reaching at straws, right? Or like kind of grasping or whatever. But the way that I see it, right, is that if you get, it's more of an overlap, right? The guys do it. Let's say like the main guy. Let's say, okay, I don't dabble into these wording, okay, but listen. The main guy doing it at his best, right? And then some random guy doing it as a whatever, right? The guy doing it at the worst, right? Like it's not gonna be perfect in motion what it looks like, right? There will be some overlap with other motions that people do. Does that make sense? You want me to draw it? So it's hard to articulate, but you want me to kind of like draw it? Like it's kind of like if you don't do the motion the way that it was done, like let's say on the left, right? That's what it's meant to look like, right? And then you showed me the other one. The guy's doing it like it's a little bit like sloppy or a little bit different. It is bound to have some similarities to somebody that's not doing it or doing another motion kind of close to it. It's bound to have some form of overlap there. But I don't think the overlap...
I guess my only question is when you say it's bound to have some similarities.
Yeah.
Why is it that in all the people arguing about this, there wasn't a single example ever of another person doing this outside of a Nazi rally? Nobody was able to find a single example of anybody doing this ever.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I guess my core argument would probably be that people probably stray away from that like type of motion as far as they can, as like a how do you call that? Like
well, I understand. Well, no. You but
automatic.
remember earlier you said that people are bound to have an overlap, right? But now you're saying people aren't bound to have an overlap?
No. I'm saying some gestures will have an overlap, like all the other ones that were mentioned, right?
Yeah, but why didn't anybody else have, or like, I'm curious, like in this video when Elon does it, that he does it once and then he turns to his side and he does it twice. He does the exact same thing twice, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that matters. I mean, if
okay, so if you have a guy doing a thing twice in a row, exactly on point, and we don't have a single example of anybody else ever in politics outside of a Nazi rally doing this, how does it make sense to say you're bound to sometimes just do this?
Because I truly believe that it's by intention. I genuinely believe that if the point was to signal something, right, he would have done it one time correctly and one time incorrectly to want to back the other up. Doing it both, quote unquote, accurately, I think that by intention, you can almost dissolve that argument now.
I don't think I follow that argument.
Okay. I think the argument dissolves itself because if the point was to find plausible deniability and do the motion that he wants to do, you would have done it one time correctly to signal to people, right, and get those points, and one time incorrectly to get some plausible deniability to try to run with it, right? That would be the way to get away with it, correct? I think it...
Yeah, but he didn't do that, though. He did it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Blatantly.
Which now I think that he did that in... The movement was intentional, but not the intention that you think it is.
Okay. But he's never made that movement ever before.
Yeah, but...
No one else has made that movement outside of a Nazi rally.
He's never been in that position before either. That's just kind of...
He has literally been on stage several times. We've got videos of him doing a heart symbol to the audience, and we've got plenty of videos of him at other political rallies prior to Trump being elected.
Can I be honest with you? It's just...
Yeah.
I don't see it. It's like I said, I think it's like a black blue fucking gold white dress moment. I don't see it. I feel
if it was a black blue gold white dress moment, I think that would be okay. But the problem is there's a lot of people out there that will say, hey, Elon Musk, the guy that runs a platform that has more Nazi content than in the history of all time, the guy who did 2 times in a row, like a very obvious Nazi salute that nobody else in the history of politics outside of Nazi rallies has ever done. The guy who constantly signals to far-right movements, who's like part of an administration that has a lot of like far-right weird elements to it, that when that guy did the thing, you're crazy if you think it was an actual Nazi salute. That's what people are saying. They're not saying, oh, I can see how you can say that way. They're saying you're an insane person for thinking that's even possible.
Makes sense. Then, right? In that same sense, right? You could also construct a parallel argument to say that it was not a lapsus, but a movement lapsus or whatever, right? Like, oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this imagery, whatever. I did that without intentionally trying to convey that message. You could also make
telling me the guy. Do you understand what you just said though? I've been watching so much Nazi content in my free time. I just started unintentionally Nazi saluting.
I mean, let me give you a little bit of an anecdote. It's why you see, you make this argument sound insane, right? And kind of like that's kind of doing like a shock value thing right now. You just said, right? It make me sound crazy, right? But here's a good anecdote to kind of. I'm not trying to say push this argument, but offer a pretty decent level of what it could be, right? So, and here's the argument. The other day I want to watch a movie. And what I haven't watched is fucking Django Unchained. Okay, and as I'm watching it, and they're just saying the word over and over again. At the point, I'm at like the word word number 5, right? And you can tell me I'm a pussy if you want to. I literally stopped watching it, right? Not because I'm offended, whatever, right? because it's a lot to hear verbally, back to back to back to back to back, right? I'm like, dude, like, what is like a weird like lapse or some shit like that, or so like it just because it's in my head for 2 hours so long, it just like out of context, it doesn't even apply. Word just comes out or something similar to it, just because of a repetitive pattern, right?
I understand what you're saying that, but what does the content consumption look like for Elon if that's the case? Is he just watching Schindler's List on repeat every single day of his life? Like Django Unchained was a really popular movie. It had a lot of N-words in it. No other politicians accidentally said the N-word on stage. I don't see anybody else accidentally Nazi saluting. The only issue is you're trying to give these plausible explanations for why a guy who avowedly and openly supports the AfD in Germany as well, right? Why this guy might have just accidentally rapid-fire double-barrel Nazi saluted to a crowd full of like authoritarian fascist accused crowd people.
Okay.
That's just like there's just like a lot of stuff there.
Okay,
like,
Steven. Okay,
yeah.
then I'll give you counter argument. You think that the king of plausible deniability wouldn't give a hint of plausible deniability in his double? Why double barrel it? Why not single barrel it?
Who's the king of plausible deniability?
Oh, brother. Oh, come on, bro. Like, look at his Twitter. His Twitter's
Wait, who's the king?
Bro, he's been plausible deniability Andy for fucking like 2 years straight, doing the interesting.
I'm trying not to be mean, but Elon Musk does not do plausible deniability. He very openly states, and everybody knows what he believes. What do you think he does plausible deniability around?
No, I mean, come on, bro. I mean, bro, I gotta be honest with you. You're at this point, I think you're rage baiting if you don't at least give me this point. That like,
hold on. You just said that this is the king of plausible deniability, implying that he does it all the time, and you can't give me a single example. And when I ask you for when you say I'm rage baiting, no, this is Elon
I'll show you.
syndrome.
No, I'll show you. I'll show you. So you're gonna let me? Are you gonna let me do it or not?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying I just want one example. What do you think he asked for plausible deniability on? This guy
every tweet he does is plausible deniability.
Every random fucking e-girl on Twitter that DMs him. I don't know what plausible deniability you're talking about.
Here it comes. Bro, you can just scroll when he does emoji something interesting. Like now he's on this fucking rant about fucking Tesla, whatever. So we're not gonna see as much. I'll just keep scrolling down until we see some.
Do you think quote tweeting somebody that says, if you quote tweet a thing and it's like, despite being 13% of the population, 52% of crimes or whatever, you think if you quote tweet that and go interesting, do you think that's plausible deniability?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Wait, what does plausible deniability mean to you?
Well, wait, plausible deniability would be like, oh, I actually found that interesting. It's not that I'm racist. It's that I actually found that interesting, so that's why it's interesting. Plausible deniability. How is that not plausible deniability?
Because when you do it like 400 times a day, every single day, that's not plausible deniability.
Wait, it absolutely is, though.
No. What plausible deniability is going outside with a camera and having 400 pictures of birds on your camera SD card and one picture of a kid and being a pedophile. That's plausible deniability. Elon Musk is coming home with 400 pictures of children on his camera, and you're like, oh, it's plausible deniability because there's one picture of a bird. No, it's not a bad argument. Nobody has to guess what Elon Musk thinks about any of these things. He's not quote tweeting stuff for ambiguity. He is constantly amplifying and constantly signaling everything he believes on Twitter. He doesn't deny any of these things. What do you mean? Where does he ever deny them? There's a plausible deniability.
Then stop business. Okay. If most of the topics that Asman talks about or looks at it on his stream, let's say, are about a race or some shit like that, right? Is he just flat out racist then? Is he just a complete racist then for you to you?
If he represents a singular position over and over and over again, yeah, that's the impression that you would get, yeah.
And he probably has what? Plausible deniability, you would say, right? You say, oh no, I was just exploring a topic. Oh no, I was looking at, and he would probably fall into that guise of, oh, he's just covering news and whatever, right? And then that would be his plausible deniability, right? That's what Elon does every day.
I don't understand how he could be more blatant aside from literally just saying the thing verbatim.
It's what I'm saying. It's his bread and butter. He's doing that over and over again. He just finds a piece that he agrees with and types something that doesn't agree with, but just gonna, oh, look at this, whatever. And it gets put to everybody's FYP.
Yeah, but oh, look at this. It's only plausible deniability if there's enough obfuscation. Like if he were to do that with a bunch of random stuff, then people would be like, "Oh, crazy!" Like there is no plausible deniability around the guy who is part of Donald Trump's cabinet. Like everybody knows what his political beliefs are. Everybody knows what he thinks. Like he talks about saving white South Africans. He openly supports the AfD in Germany. Like there is no confusion or ambiguity here.
Yeah, I mean, one of my viewers sent me a Elon Musk and interesting as a quote on the search bar, and there's a bunch of shit. It's just
but it all points in one direction. There's no ambiguity there.
Yeah, but
it's not even a dog whistle. It's just he's just making it obvious like what his political beliefs are. Like it's very obvious.
Okay. So if somebody point blank were to ask him, "Are you this? Right? Are you anti multiculturalism? Are you anti whatever? Right? Or are you racist?" I mean, if it was
they don't say racist, but he would say something like, "Well, I just think that DEI is well, I just don't think it's a good way to do things." He would say some shit like that, like he would just talk about those things, like DEI and ESG and all the other shit.
Some plausible deniability shit then.
Plausible deniability, like maybe of the absolute, like of just calling somebody a racist, but you understand that like even racist people don't necessarily see themselves as like racist.
Yeah, but that still falls under plausible deniability. That's why I said it. That still falls under that action.
People who are, like neo-Nazis or whatever, won't necessarily, like people who are white separatists won't say things like "I'm racist." Sometimes they'll say things like, "I think that races are. I'm actually less racist than a multicultural person because I think that every race deserves their own country to thrive and grow and have their own beautiful cultures that aren't all being erased by whatever the white people are doing in the United States." And people want consent. But if somebody says, "I'm a white separatist and I want a different country," would XQC say, "Oh, well, that person's doing plausible deniability"? Why? Because he's not calling himself racist. What? He's not denying anything. He just doesn't agree with the label.
Well, that falls under plausible deniability. Yeah, exactly.
So can you give me an example of a person who doesn't have? Because at that point, every single thing is plausible deniability.
No, it's not.
Every single thing where you don't say "I am X" counts as plausible deniability.
Okay, it's not because you don't perceive it as that. It is not the action at its root. Like if somebody does something, right? In their own POV, the way they do it, they're engaging in plausible deniability on a daily. It's what they do, right? It's not because you don't view it that way that people don't view it that way themselves. Like it's what they're doing. I don't know why then in your case then you Steven, nothing is plausible deniability then because you know everything because you're educated and you're informed about a lot of topics. And nobody can ever slip through the cracks of plausible deniability because you got them. You know better. Well, it's still plausible deniability.
I think I think you're working with a different definition of plausible deniability than other people are. Like when you do plausible deniability, the goal is to make it so that if somebody accuses you of believing a certain thing, you can say like, "Oh no, like no, not really." Like let's say there's a guy that I really want to support because he's like a Nazi creator or a communist, a tanky creator, and I look at his stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna promote his, but like I don't want it to be obvious, so I'm gonna find like 3 other people and promote them as well who have like different political beliefs, and then I promote all 4 of these people. I have plausible deniability. But if I support 4 people who are all tankies, and I support all 4 of them, and you're like, "Wait, are you a tanky?" And I go, "No, I just support these guys, and they might happen to be tankies." That's not plausible deniability at that point. You're not trying to be ambiguous. You're not even trying to hide it.
Yes, but in that case, you're still taking a thing you just said. I'm supporting it. That is what you would find to be. That's pretty cemented. You're solidified.
What do you think Elon Musk is doing when he's retweeting people on a platform where he's unlocked it so that you can earn money? That's
what plausible deniability is. He's not cemented. He's not stuck in that stance. He can still wiggle out of it. That's what's plausible.
Okay, I'm curious.
He can wiggle out of it.
Interesting. You got a ton of stuff that's interesting on your screen. If we were to choose 15 of these at random, how many of these would be right-wing versus left-wing beliefs? What do you think?
Like I said, your view, you catching him onto that, doesn't mean that that's not what he's doing.
If he was trying to plausible deny, what is he trying to have plausible deniability for?
Okay, let me something that.
So, like, for instance, if I were to support one tanky and 3 ordinary content creators, and really I just want to support the tanky guy, my plausible deniability, what I'm trying to hide there is the fact that I support tankies, right? And I'm doing it by supporting 3 other dudes.
Okay.
So the plausible deniability, that's what I'm trying to. What is Elon trying to hide by exclusively quote tweeting the same type of content over and over again?
He has a lot more extreme views than he portrays himself to be, right? And by quote tweeting interesting on pretty decently radicalized ideologies or tweets or things that are kind of malignant or malicious, right? He can kind of propel those thoughts and shit like that without taking a hard stance and without being stuck onto those ideologies himself. How hard is that to understand it? He can wiggle out of it anytime he wants to.
Okay, I'm just curious. If I were to grant this entire thing, then wouldn't we go back to the original Nazi salute and say that he absolutely was doing that intentionally then? If his whole goal is to be doing plausible deniability, then he probably is a Nazi and he was doing this because he was a Nazi.
Because there again, you misconstrued what I said. When I said plausible, if the goal was to plausible deniability, that he does that all the time, right? He wouldn't have done it twice the same way.
You would just say that he thought he was doing that, but when he said I was just doing it as a heart salute, isn't that him trying to do the plausible deniability, kind of like quote tweeting far right propaganda and saying interesting 50 million times?
Okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give you an argument then. Let's say I'm in some fucking game, okay, and by accident, oh my god, some guy kills me, and I call him the N-word by accident, and quickly I need to think about something. What could I do possibly to wiggle out of it? And maybe I'm gonna throw another insult, but it's not the N-word. It's really close to it. It's like noob. Oh my god, that's really close. It kind of sounds like it. So now I can say, go guys, look, the first time I was trying to say what I said on the second time, guys. That would be plausible deniability, right? If you were going to do that like he does all the time, you wouldn't do it twice the correct way. That would be like if fucking PewDiePie went on the bridge and just said it once and guys, what I meant to say is, and says it again.
Okay, true. But this would be like calling someone the N-word, and then somebody's like, wait, what'd you say? And then you say, oh, I called him the, and then you just say the N-word again.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh,
exactly.
I'm sorry, that means something else.
It's why by intention.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, I understand. But now my question is, in the history of all of your entire life, have you ever heard of anybody doing this ever?
Most of what he does in history, you can't find somebody doing that shit, let's be honest.
No, I can think of plenty of... Here, I can give you know what? I can give an example. I've done this, and I bet almost every single person in your chat has done this. I give an example in the same vein that almost every person. Okay? You ever in a chair, either in a classroom or in an office or some bullshit, and you think you can let one loose quietly, and it ends up being a loud fart, and then after you do it, you like move your chair a little bit to be like, oh, look, it's just the chair moving. Ha ha ha. Everybody's done this at least once. Yeah?
Yeah. So?
That's okay. Nobody is Nazi saluted twice. Nobody has said the N-word twice to mistake or to cover up the first N-word.
Yeah, because if the intention wasn't to do it, right? Then they wouldn't have to do that. If the intention wasn't to do the salute and it looked like it, then doing it twice makes sense.
So the intention was to do the salute?
No. If the intention wasn't to do it, then it makes sense to do it twice.
Okay. I mean, this is unbeatable logic.
Because you view it as a salute, and he doesn't. So doing it twice when it doesn't compute as doing something bad, so it does it twice. To truly understand the argument, you have to put yourself in the shoes where, let's say, you didn't know, you as Steven, that in the United States, inside the N-word, you can't say that. And you go into a store, and you said it, and people say, whoa, what'd you say? What would you do? You would probably say it again, right?
Yeah, there's a Jackie Chan scene in Rush Hour. What's up? And the guy at the bar, remember?
So, if you had no idea that the N-word was a bad word, you had no idea. For you, you thought it meant, I don't know, bread. Because you're from Europe. You come to the United States, and you go into a store and says, hey guys, I would like to have one, and then you just ripped it off. And people went, whoa, wait, a what? What would you do then? You would probably say it again, right?
Yeah, I understand. I agree with you. And let's say that did happen in real life, right? Would you assume that the guy, maybe he just didn't know?
Yeah.
Now, what if that same guy came in and he had a white power tattoo across his neck? He was wearing a Ku Klux Klan head. You know that he controlled the largest social media platform in the world that was starting to machine gun fire out Nazi propaganda. He was supporting people, a party that people call the far-right authoritarian party in Germany, the AfD. He was constantly platforming some of like the most far-right content ever, and a lot of people. And he was part of a political party and supporting a candidate who was accused of supporting anti-Semitic neo-Nazism, and that guy did it. Would you have the same assumption?
No, I wouldn't. But I have to be honest with you, I just don't see it. I think that this guy is not that he's good at it, but he usually at least covers himself in a way that he thinks he'll get away with it.
You understand that this guy was stupid enough. You understand this guy was stupid enough to try to explain his Path of Exile gear on stream to fake his cheating, right? The guy's probably just fucking retarded.
Well, that's just Dunning-Kruger. I mean, let's keep it a buck. That's like ultra Dunning-Kruger.
Okay, so maybe he thought it was just kind of funny and epic that he could Nazi salute twice and get away with it. No, is that not possible?
Like I said, I don't see it.
What would possibly make you see it? Is there any? What would change your mind on this?
I mean, almost anything, really. Almost anything. Legitimately, almost anything more that happened before or after would give it to me, yeah. I just don't see it.
Almost any... Okay, so double tapping the Nazi salute, no. But almost anything... What is almost anything else?
No. Anything to back up the behavior. Like... almost anything that would reinforce that. Oh yeah, anything that would reinforce that.
I mean, like nobody even wants to work with the AfD party in Germany because that party is so far right, and Elon Musk like openly supports it as hard as he possibly can. And this fucking retard doesn't even know U.S. politics, let alone German politics. That's not like a little bit weird?
I don't know what RFD is. I don't know what that is.
The AfD is the far right. Some people argue it's the fucking neo-Nazi party. It's probably a little bit too far, but in Germany, it is the far right party in Germany that people hate so fucking much. Like nobody even wants to form a government with them. Everybody hates his party. It's the super far right party in Germany, and he like openly and avowedly supports it for like who the fuck knows what reason. It's super weird.
Okay, well I didn't know that, but I don't know what the validity of that the introduction of that here. I don't know what was the validity of that. Like, how do you link that with this? I don't get it.
How do I link Germany, the country that's known for Nazis? How do I link the far right populist National Conservative Party that they have right now, and the fact that Elon Musk supports it? How do I link that to doing a Nazi salute? Is that what you're asking me?
I mean, like I said, you're asking me to make assumptions. You're asking me to make like an immediate to convict these guys to being Nazis off the rip. I mean, I don't know.
I never said I'm trying to convince you to be Nazis. I'm not asking you to make assumptions. You're asking me to do a Mr. Beast obstacle course for why a double tap Nazi salute wasn't actually that. You're the one who's asking people to make assumptions, right? Because he clearly did. He said the N-word twice, and now you're saying, well, this is why he didn't know what it meant. Right? This guy who's the wealthiest person on the planet, who was partners with the most powerful person on the planet now, right? Who won the election, who campaigned in the United States and supports far-right parties all over the planet, and is now on the platform that is more anti-Semitism and more neo-Nazi content than any other platform on the planet, doesn't know what the Hitler salute looks like. And you're telling me, hold on, you've got to understand why the double tap Nazi salute wasn't actually that. I'm not the one making assumptions.
Okay, like I said, I feel like even at his stage, that I feel like he is dumb. He is irresponsible, dumb, outright offensive at times. I gotta keep it a buck. Out of all of his behaviors, that seems to me like an all-in that he never commits that far onto anything. I think that's like all-inning. I just don't see him doing that.
You don't see. He literally went to Wisconsin and dumped $30 million into the election and then danced around on stage like a retard. The guy goes out on stage with a chainsaw. The guy went all in on Doge and found fucking nothing after staking his whole reputation on it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think these stances
all in on stupid shit all the time.
These stances don't cook you as hard as that would, because
This guy has lost more value as an individual out of a company than the entire GDP of some countries because of how unpopular and stupid his political positions are over the course of a few months.
Yes,
I mean, what else? Do you want?
I understand, but talking about somebody's downfall as somebody who didn't build a single brick in this guy's the wall that he's built is just it's out of nowhere. I don't.
What do you mean out of nowhere? You don't think Hitler built any walls? I mean, what do you mean?
I'm just saying.
Good things at the same time. You're just saying
somebody that acquired fucking oceans of money. I think that you come in and say, oh look, he lost that much. Is of any value to this argument? It's just stupid. I don't think you know any better.
Hold on. I'm countering the argument that you said of I don't think he would ever go all in on something so dumb. And I can show you that he has clearly acted in incredibly stupid ways. He's done dumber things. If anything, I could just say Dunning-Kruger, like you said earlier, about his Path of Exile stuff, which was cringe and weird.
I think if he did a legitimate Nazi salute and he took the time to actually do the whole gesture correctly, I'm telling you, it would probably be more damaging than most that he's done in the last 3 years combined.
Yeah, but he wouldn't, because people like you would say, well, look, he only did it once. He probably made the same mistake he did before.
Well, I mean, I disagree, because if you think about Ye. Think about Ye. Think about it for a minute. He had a bunch of plausible deniability shit in the past. He had a bunch of, oh, no, I didn't mean that, whatever. And he was kind of navigating that line, right? And he wasn't losing much. Let's keep it about. A lot of his album releases were pretty good, right? Like, they hit the charts. They were still being endorsed. Stayed on Spotify. He was still doing fantastic. But the minute that he actually said, no, that's what I mean, I'm that bad, I'm doing all of this, now he's completely cooked. They're the same way with Elon. He knows that he actually said, yeah, that's what I'm doing that, he would lose a lot more than him gliding that line of, no, that's not what I mean, that's what I mean. And you refusing to understand that is just, it's outrageous. I don't know what to tell you.
Kanye West has a mental illness. If your standard for Elon Musk's behavior is supposed to match up to a guy who is severely autistic and most likely has bipolar personality disorder, if that's your standard for behavior, fine. But I don't want to ever hear you cite Elon as a serious figure ever. If this is the amount of charitability you're going to grant this guy, and you're going to compare him to a retarded bipolar guy whose mind was destroyed by Pete Davidson's cock, then I don't even know. I don't know why you would cite Elon as being an intelligent figure for literally anything. You couldn't trust a single thing that he said. I don't know why you would even.
I'm not gonna do some cringe fucking like bullshit armchair psychologist, like anti fucking Goldwater standard fucking motherfucker. That's
exactly what you're doing.
No,
you're doing that.
No, you are.
No, I said I see a double tap Nazi salute, and you go. Well, actually, it's not a double tap Nazi salute, because if he's going to do a double tap Nazi salute, what it's showing you is that he actually knows that he doesn't know that it's a bad thing, and that's why he did it twice. If he would have done it one time, it would have been, really bad. But the fact that he did it a second time means that he committed to the thing, and that shows that he actually didn't know what it was.
Offering you.
You're saying that I'm the one doing the mental job. I'm saying kind of looks like a double tap Hitler salute to me, dog.
Okay, dog. And now I'll explain it. That was just a plausible explanation on why that would be the case and why that would happen. And I would give you the same charitability. Like whenever you got banned and you came back and you said the N-word straight up, right? Remember when you did that? I didn't say, well, I think Destiny's just a racist. I didn't say that. I offered some plausible explanation on why he would do such a thing at the time.
No, stop. No. You didn't argue, though, that he didn't say the N-word. If I said the N-word, then I'm saying the N-word. I wouldn't say, oh, I thought I was speaking Russian for a second. What are you talking about?
No, the explanation. Okay, it's both different things. But the point I'm making is the same. No.
The comparison is apt. If I say, am I allowed to say the N-word here? If I say an N-word, okay, then I'm saying it. Okay, if I say an N-word, I'm saying an N-word. I'm not going to say oh, I didn't know, LOL. I'm not saying, personally, now people can have their beliefs, I personally don't think that Elon Musk is a Nazi. I think he's an edgy fucking retard. That's what I think he is. And I think he was signaling to other people, look, I'm fucking cool, I can Hitler salute. That's what I'm thinking. But it was obviously a double-barrel, double-shot Hitler salute, obviously. It was... Nobody in the history. That's why, even though everybody tried to post pictures, because all I could find were pictures, nobody could find a single video of anybody outside of a Nazi rally doing that, ever. Because that's what it was. It was a double-barrel Nazi salute. That's what it was.
Okay, fair enough. And is there any footage of him doing the jump with the belly out? Is there any position of that in the past? Doing some sideways, fucking autistic jump on stage? Anybody's done that before?
He does it, yeah.
Yeah, him. Anybody else though?
I don't know, actually.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I mean, I can find people that jump or whatever. You know why he does that, right? Do you know why he does that?
I don't know. It's the Nazi jump. It's called the Zump. It's what it is. Clearly.
No.
No, it has to be. It has to be.
He does it because he's 7 years old and because he's trying to make his body look like the letter X for the X platform. That's what he's trying to do. He wants to make an X. That's why he jumps in. He puts his arms and his legs out.
Okay. That sounds fucking dumbass. That sounds
I
brain
sent you 4 pictures. That's literally what he's doing. Yes. You realize that this guy is obsessed with the letter X, right? He bought the domain like 30 years ago. Do you know what he calls that one kid with the weird name? You know that he calls him X, right?
Yeah.
He named one of his children X. He has a platform that he renamed. He took one of the best branded platforms of all time, Twitter, like a bird, and you tweet, and he renamed it to X. He has an AI company called XAI. He's got a rocket ship company called SpaceX.
Okay, yeah, but see,
the only thing that surprised he doesn't have a thing called Tesla. I don't know why he didn't rename that company.
Okay, what I was arguing.
Oh my God! Wait a second.
What? Yes, somebody found some proof.
X. Wait, are you?
I actually.
Are you?
What? You left the call. You left the call. I don't get it. Is that a joke? You left the call. I don't get it. Was that the joke? That he was going to say, is that you? And then he leaves the call? Chat? Sorry, I don't see it. I don't see what is to gain out of such a risk. You would have to explain to me. It's the horseshoe theory. That would mean that there's so little. It's so much that it's not the upside. I don't get it. What does that mean?